Tooth UK here. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video, everybody. Events, stuff, pickups. What's been going on? Weighing manuals. I know some people are like, what the fuck? I know you're a bit of a weirdo, Stu, but you're going a little bit too far. You're really like mega weird now. Just a thing, to be honest, it always, I can't remember even where Matt Goblin Retro, if you want to see the leaderboard of the heaviest UK PAL PlayStation 1 manual, head over to Goblin Retro, Matt's channel. I can't remember even how he come about it, but I'm pretty sure someone else has talked about heavy manuals before. We've all done it, you know, when you pick up a PlayStation game, like, look at the size of that, choke a donkey. So it's not anything, he's not thought of anything that anybody else hasn't thought of, but he's just took it to that next level. And I like that. I like, you know what I'm like? I like weird shit like that. So I'm like, yeah, I'm on board with that. I've got some PlayStation 1 games. I can have a butcher's, which is what I did, essentially. So people were like, what the fuck is going on here? Bit of fun. Something a little bit different, you know. I think quite interesting, I suppose, if you're that way inclined. I thought it was anyway. But look, we've been doing some events. I can't remember since the last vid. There's been a handful of them. Doncaster, I think it was Doncaster and London have been and gone. I sort of was a bit wary about Doncaster, you know, not from a event, not from a punter's perspective, but from a vendor's perspective, it's kind of meh, right? It's a meh event. It was, what, a couple of weeks back now, so it was quite hot, and historically the sort of summer ones, I suppose, because they don't always have it every summer in Doncaster. It's usually like it's bookended on the year. They don't tend to do so well because it can get really, really hot in there. And it was really warm in there, but I was kind of prepared for it. So I had a shorts, t-shirt and all that kind of stuff. So it wasn't too bad. In all the grand scheme of things, it weren't too bad from an environmental perspective. Sales-wise, pretty much as last time. Not great, not breaking any records. An example would be, without giving you any, sort of sharing too much details, Fob and myself spent the same amount of money stalling out at Birmingham as we did at Doncaster, and we took twice the amount. Right, and me and Fob sell quite different things as well. You know, we're not like a cookie cutter kind of thing, so quite different inventory. And yeah, that was the results of it. So again, it's just a meh event. Got some pickups from there. Only three technically, I suppose, if you were looking at it that way. We have to say goodbye to Daz McGowan. Daz started stalling out with me a couple of years back now. He, I suppose he had a remit and had an idea of what he wanted to do in terms of his the sort of collection he had, a lot of the PlayStation 1 and 2 and 3, I suppose, as well. Yeah, he had a lot of the 3 and PSP. He needs some space in his house. He's got his collection, his real gold collection elsewhere and stuff. So he was just out to thin his collection out, and he's kind of achieved what he needed to do. So he's very graciously bowed out. I think unfortunately Doncaster was his swan song. But he very kindly gifted me a few little bits. Was I'm not sure if it was his own or he's probably obtained from somewhere. The Atari Owners Club badge. And I'll find a place for that. What I'm probably going to do is put a little loop thing, and on the end of me, I don't know if you can see them, little hooks. I'll pop that on there, Dad. And then these things. Now, these are like amiibo. I can't remember where he said he got them from. They're for like Zelda, I think it's Breath of the Wild. They're like little amiibo cards. And apparently you can scan them and get shit, he was telling me. So I have no idea. I don't know if they're official or he's obtained them from somewhere. But yeah, you just like, I think they're equivalent to amiibos. So you go blink, 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 and it gives you stuff. Actually, I did see ordinarily that I thought that he was like massive big cards when he sort of said it, but I mean that's not ideal. Just talking about Zelda, Breath of the Wild and stuff, and I know, look, this is retro and whatnot, obviously Switch 2, etc. I ain't getting my saves off my Switch 1 because obviously mine's been blocked and banned because of using the MIG switch. There's no way. I've tried everything with Nintendo. They are not for budging. They are not for swaying. So if I wanted to, I don't know, bring my Zelda save games or whatever, I'm going to have to play it again. So these may actually come in useful. I did say that to Daz. That's just one of them things. And we've seen John, Retro Snipe. Nice to see John. He actually gifted me, did a swap, I suppose. It's up there, there's no point showing it. It's the 7800 Mario Bros box. Now, he mentioned he had a box. Well, I was kind of like, ish. He very kindly brought it along, and I said, look, I'll have a check. It turned out his was better than mine. I've actually had to split it open just to get to it. So this is John's box, if you like. Hey. So yeah, I've had to crack it open because it does need a little bit of work inside and stuff. But I'll get all that when the temperature drops. Get all that sort of glued and ironed, and it would look nicer than my one, let's put it that way. But he also very kindly, this video is sponsored by Retro Snipe, because he bought me some beers. He sneaked beers into Doncaster, bless him. He was sweating bullets. So John, cheers mate. Again, go over, check out Goblin Retro Goblin, and John Retro Snipe, 2 great channels. Cheers. So it has been hot, hasn't it? It's been warm. It's been warm. So we had Doncaster. Oh, and I got this as well off Mark Jowett. I can't remember what it's called now. Is it the Retro Magazine man? Sega Mags. One more for the CVG collection. Really closing in on that now. Really closing in on that. Luckily, it'll give me an idea in terms of like space boxes and stuff. So because it will kind of finish off the bulk of what I actually need from a magazine perspective, which isn't a lot now. So 2 nice things there. Outside of that, from Doncaster, there wasn't anything else. There was, you know, wasn't anything that really took my fancy per se. Wasn't like that really piqued my interest. I was really trying to like get some money back, because I'll just buy junk. I get drunk and just spend money. I've said this before, shouldn't be allowed to have money. But I do want to touch on, because I've got one thing from London. Again, London didn't spend any money, luckily. I did a bit of I suppose, a deal with Fob, but I'll show you that in a minute. But at Doncaster, the organiser, Andy, I've known Andy for fucking decade, probably longer than that. And I've heard rumours and not rumours. I've heard rumblings, and people have said stuff in the comments and mentioned things to me in passing. Now, as you know, or you don't know, or you don't care to know, I don't get involved in what I would call the grifting, the begging, the big YouTubers, as I like to call themselves, the influencers, and their nonsense channels and the videos. I don't watch. Definitely don't sub, and I don't see them because I block them. Right, so I have ignorance is bliss, for want of a better word. So I don't, and obviously in terms of social media, I'm only on Facebook and obviously technically YouTube, and that's it, I'm done. So I have no interest, essentially. I really don't care. He took me to one side and he said, are you still on YouTube, bless him? Because obviously you clearly don't fucking watch me. No one watches me. None of you bastards watch me. I remember someone, I think it was Dave Lawnboy's post, put something about, I'm just going to move this camera a little bit, it's a bit not balanced right, about his analytics. I don't look at shit like that, but I can't remember what he said. He put some up there about something there. I think it's to do with copyright. I don't even know that's a thing. You can check if someone's copied your videos. So I just went on there to have a look. I thought, oh, quite interesting. Luckily, and probably, not surprisingly, no one's copied my videos. But obviously, because I was in that sort of section of YouTube, which I don't pay any mind to at all, I did look at the average view time. And you bastards only, if I do a 30-minute video, you only watch a third of it, about 10 minutes. So there you go. And I don't blame you, because probably if I watch some of your videos, I'd probably watch about that much, especially if you're showing Xbox 360 and modern shit. And that's part of it, isn't it? Right? I don't think that's ever changed since I've been on here. Let's be honest. I don't think there's very few people who watch 100% of the videos. YouTube used to show you. It used to show you if someone had subbed to you, how much they'd watched of your videos and who was the highest sub. And I remember at one point, it was Big E. Oh, bloody hell. Guy lives in Devon. I forgot his name. His name's Ian. I can't think of his channel, but he was the most person who watched my channel. They've scrapped that. You can't find that anymore. That's just a shame. Maybe people were getting called out. I don't know. But anyway, so I digress. Andy asked me, sort of, look, do you still do the YouTube thing? Have you heard about people moaning about the events? And I said, oh, in what sort of sense, kind of thing? Because obviously you had the whole sort of, I don't know what you want to call it, like access gate, where people were moaning about the staggered times, which now actually it kind of works and people are quite happy with it, and they think it's a good thing, surprisingly. He said, no, it's to do with the vendors and there not being enough game sellers. And I went, because I had heard little bits, again, not in them circles, don't watch that content, couldn't really sort of, when he mentioned it, couldn't say, oh yeah, I know about that. But then when he elaborated a little bit, I said, well, I have heard, again, and I have heard only a few little bits, not much, from a few people. I won't mention the names. You know who you are. It's no big deal. It's just obviously they've asked me and whatnot. They've mentioned it. So I think the general gist of it is there's certain individuals that clearly aren't happy with the events. Scott Brand, not Scott Brand said it, but Scott Brand mentioned a similar thing about London in his latest video, and I replied back to him. So the general gist of it is there's not enough independent sellers. So you'd class me as or private seller. You class me as a private seller. I'm not a shop. I'm not a brand or anything like that. It's just me, right? Yeah, I do it quite regular, and I buy shit, sell shit, and that's how I basically fund this shit, essentially. Probably no more different than most of you guys. Not saying you all do this, but you'd probably buy bulk, break it down, keep what you want, sell a difference. You probably sell it on eBay, sell it on Vinted. Told you before, it's no different. It's just the mechanisms that you use are different. I just like to keep mine up, save it for a couple of months, and then go and stall out. You probably sell it on a weekly, daily basis on them platforms, online, e-commerce, whatever you want to call it. All right. So the outcome's still exactly the same. Be it if you're thinning your collection down, you know, if I was to say, oh, you know, I need the space. Sega Saturn, not really my thing now. Some people would go, I'll sell it on eBay. I'll sell it on Facebook. I'll sell it on Vinted. I'll take it to a market and sell it there. Like I say, it's literally the same fucking thing. It just appears like because I'm stalling out on some sort of like shop or whatever. It's not. It doesn't work that way. So the gripe is there's not enough private sellers. Their argument is it's people selling swords, selling Etsy type stuff, sort of stuff you'd make at home that you'd sell on Etsy. I don't know, crafty things, signs, and such like. And there's not enough private sellers. Now, what people probably don't realise, especially if you're new to this game, is that goes all the way back, best part of a decade, over a decade ago, at Blackpool, Play Expo Blackpool. When there wasn't these markets, there was like literally a handful. I think probably Doncaster may have been a thing then. And we had something called Fudgegate, because at Blackpool, like I say, it was one of the few markets, and you started having like 2 fudge stalls pop up, and that was unheard of. It was unheard of, and so everyone was like, "What's with the fucking fudge?" So we named it Fudgegate, and that's when really, I think, Andy reached out to me, and we had a conversation because he phoned me up. I said, "Yeah, call me up. We'll have a discussion about it." I wasn't driving Fudgegate. It was like the sort of community that we were in, because that's how it used to be back then. Everybody knew everybody, and everyone sort of talked and chatted and stuff. And it was just a bit of a weird thing. Now, sitting down, well, speaking to Andy over the phone, and then subsequently sitting down at Blackpool. Again, the video's still on here. You can go and check it out. And he even said to me at Doncaster the other week, he said, he remembered having the chat with me. He goes, I don't usually give interviews. He goes, you're one of the very few people that I actually like granted or allowed to interview me. And he goes, I don't normally do it, because he felt that passionate. I don't know, maybe he felt he needed to explain it. And when he explains it from a business perspective, it makes perfect sense. So he's got a venue. It's costing him X amount of money, probably quite a lot. He puts notices out to say, does anyone want to have a table? Does anyone want to stall out? Obviously, he's got to meet a certain threshold for that venue, for that market to pay for the venue. Makes sense. It's business sense, right? So if people don't come to say, I want to sell my stuff, he has to then open it up to other people that might want to come and sell stuff. Fudge people. If Fudge Man only sells £10 of stuff, that's not Andy's problem. Fudge Man's paid his £80 for a table. That's helped Andy pay for the venue and everything's covered. See how this is how it works, right? Now, there's two ways to look at this. So one argument would be, and this is what Scott said when we had a little chat in his thing, because I that's sort of basic what I said to him. He said, oh, but I know people that tried to get into, say, London, and they couldn't get in. It was full. Fair dues, right? That's a fair comment. But on the flip side of it, when you're paying for an event like London, again, it's going to be a sizable, probably runs into the hundreds of thousands. I don't know, right? Let's just assume it's 100,000. They've got to pay that ahead of time. So, especially with London, those pitches don't last long because London is a very lucrative market. So if you've got X person who's like, oh yeah, I might want to sell my stuff, I'll have a think about it, and they leave it till like the last minute or whatever, it's first come, first serve. From a business perspective, what's Andy and the team to do? Basically go, right, we've got I don't know, Sheila Signs, we've got, I don't know, Tanya Toys and Freddie Fudge, who want to have a stall. They're guaranteed they're going to pay the money. Or do we wait and see if Steve the Collector might want a table? He might not. He hasn't really said much. I don't know the answer, right? But from a business perspective, if you've filled 80% of your tables with what you would, because he asks you what you're selling, what you would class as video gaming stuff, you kind of think, you know what, them couple of extra ones, I don't know, say if you've got 40 table spaces and you fill 35 of them with gaming, and there's 5 slots that are not sort of really gaming related, I don't know, selling fucking Funko Pops or swords, ain't that big a deal. That's how I would look at it. Now, I don't really understand what these punters' problem is in terms of the private sellers. Now, what they're hoping for, like, so in my head, I think they're hoping for people that don't know what they've got and they're trying to sell it. That's realistically what I think. They want a bargain, right? So let's just really level the field here. That ain't going to happen. It really isn't going to happen, right? I've been to enough of these events. I know when new people are there, right? I get it. And I'll see, you don't get fucking stuff. It's not a car boot sale. Like, this is not ever going to be a car boot sale. Even if Andy Brown and team went, right, you know what? We're not going to have sore thumbs. We're not going to have fucking Alan. We're not going to have all these big traders who have like fucking 10 tables. We're not going to have doorway to door. None of that. What we're going to do is just going to wait to see if Steve, the collector guys, if they have a table. The fucking thing won't, like, it would go bust. It would be cancelled. Because that's what these influencers are trying to drive down. So there's two ways to look at it. Either you kind of have what's there and you make the most of what's there, or you kind of drive it into the ground to the point where they just go, ain't fucking worth it, then forget it. I don't know which one people prefer, but equally there is an argument, and I said this to him. I said this to Andy. I said, "You sure it's not a bit of sour grapes?" And he went, "What do you mean?" I said, "Well, because obviously these influencers aren't allowed in early anymore. So is it because they're not allowed in early anymore, so they don't think they're getting the bargains? And look, trust me, if there's any fucking bargains there, there's me and like about 80% of the other vendors that will walk around and buy it anyway. It is very much like you would probably have at these like locked-in car boot sale type things. So I don't really understand what they're hoping to gain from making these very negative videos. I don't understand it, because I don't think, I'm not sure what change they're hoping to enact, because it's not going to happen. Because the core fact of the matter is, you can't, or Andy and the team can't force private sellers to sell their collection. No more than Scott in Retro Ram Shop and Dana at Hidden Chest and Alan in Forgotten Worlds and Lee at Sawforms can force people to walk through the door and sell their collection. You can't do it. It's like saying, oh, Lee's shop at Sawforms, shit, it's got no Sega Master System anymore. Well, you can't go to a wholesaler and buy it. It don't work that way. So you can't say to Andy, oh, you've got no private sellers anymore. Okay, Scott's argument is there's people waiting to get a pitch. They need to be more proactive. They need to be like saying, next time it comes up, I'll have one. There's Milton Keynes. Milton Keynes had spaces. Milton Keynes ain't that far from London. If you can get to London, you can probably get to Milton Keynes. See what I mean? So when you start boiling it down a little bit, it don't really add up. Don't really add up to me. And I did feel sorry for Andy because he felt like the sort of community was like against him. I said, mate, it's a couple of people. Personally, I think it's fucking sour grapes. I think they're sucking on lemons because you're not letting him in early anymore. They're not abusing your hospitality, and they don't like it, so they have the fucking ump. One of them, names will remain anonymous. Weird enough, and I've mentioned this before, they never come to my store, never come to Daz when he was there, and then speak to other people. When Andy mentioned it, he goes, they don't come to my stall either. And the crew of other traders said, they don't come to my stall. So the person that's moaning about there not being any private sellers is probably because he's alienated or he's just chosen not to go to the people that are there for whatever reason. And look, it's not like I'm selling the same stuff. It's not like I'm mass producing, I don't know, soft toys and they're all the same. My stock does fluctuate and change, as does a number of the other people that said these people don't go to their stalls. So I don't know, is that the problem? Is that the problem? Because, oh no, all these people I don't like for whatever reason, they've just decided not to look at the stalls. They're then running out of people to go and look at. I don't think that becomes an Andy Brown problem. It definitely don't become our problem. That sounds like a you problem. That's 20 minutes of fucking ranting. But I said to Andy, look, I'll try and explain the situation because I do think it's a little bit out of order. This is his livelihood at the end of the day. And the team ain't done nothing wrong. They really haven't. So if you do watch any of these influencers videos and you hear this absolute fucking tribe, just try and have a critical, mindful, common sense approach to it. You get what I mean? Because you've got to look at it from both sides. It's not just about running around like a fucking car boot sale and think you're going to get everything for £1. Them days are long, long gone. Long, long gone. Right? There's always deals to be had at the markets, and you've seen people's videos later on in the day, in the midday. You just got to be that way inclined, I suppose. Ask. Then you can say no. You know, it ain't all about the early bird. I'll tell you that much now, because the early birds don't buy anything, and I told you that before as well. That first hour, the early bird collectors, they're all a bunch of fucking twats running around with their phones using your stock as fucking content. They don't buy nothing. There, done, rant done. That's 20 minutes, so that means 3 minutes of that will get watched by you bastards. So anyway, talking to London, London was horrid. It was, from a environment perspective, it was fucking horrid. We were in the back room, which we're normally in, just fobbing myself. I'm not joking. I ain't getting any younger, right? I love the sun. I love being out in the sun. Being in the sun and having heat, as in like dense heat, is two different things. There was no aircon in the smaller room. The bigger room had the aircon. It was like night and day. We had nothing in the back room. I've never felt so ill stalling out. I think there was probably a touch getting on for heat exhaustion, that kind of scenario. The sales were in the toilet for that. I mean, I did okay, given the situation. Rob, not so good. Because people were coming in, and if you went to London, if you've been to London, the back room, they'd come into the back room, and you could see them go, because it's like getting off the fucking plane. Boom, hit you. And then they'd sort of look round, and they'd just like turn round. And at about 1:30, I said this to Rob, you looked in the room, and it looked like it does at about 4 o'clock. It shuts at 4:30. People just did not want to be in there, and I can't blame them. You know, depending on what your store was like, I mean, even Scott said that about 20 minutes the most he could manage in this little back room that we were in, and then he was back out again. Yeah, horrendous. I can't blame Andy and the team. They tried to get the guys who owned the venue to sort the aircon out. I mean, we had engineers telling us, "Oh yeah, the fucking breakers blow." I'm not fucking interested. Fucking, they give us a little fan to blow, which is all right, but it's just blowing hot air around. It doesn't cool anything down. So, yeah, a little bit disappointing, to say the least, with London. Just very, very uncomfortable, very awkward, not nice conditions. And like I say, from a taking perspective, it really hit us in the pocket. And that's, you know, and that's not sort of exaggerating it at all. That's fact. That's fact. But Rob did. He had this. It showed me something he picked up before. I said, look, I wouldn't mind that sleeve off of you. So we're doing a little bit of a deal. I'll do some bits for him. But I did get, and I've been after this for a while, is the golden eye sleeve. Obviously, I don't need the box and the N64. I'm pretty sure, I say that, I'm pretty sure I've got an N64 box. This sleeve isn't too bad. Yeah, he did say it's all right. It's got a few little curls and dinks at the corner, but I'll tidy them up. But yeah, a lovely, lovely, lovely sleeve for an N64. So many thanks to Fob for that. Obviously, deal being sorted out and pending. But outside, I didn't buy anything from London. It was very much, I say, trying to recoup some money, make some pennies without spending any of it. But again, there was private sellers there, people I hadn't seen before, people that returned. The flip side to it is, again, if you look at it with a common sense, critical view on it, I'm about labouring on the point too much. If you had Tanya Toys, who make soft toys, or Sheila Signs, right, and everyone's going, oh, it's just the same fucking people, there's no video game stuff. These people wouldn't be coming back, because these tables ain't cheap, right? So someone's buying their stuff, so they're doing all right because they're coming back. They're coming back and they're having a table. So again, is it like we've got currently in this country a very small, the minority's voice becomes the majority sound that you hear, whereas the majority are kind of like just sit silent and think, well, I'm good, I quite like it. Be careful of that. Be careful of that. So anyway, like I say, just take what these influencers say with a pinch of salt. It's a very skewed, biased view, and usually it's because they're unhappy and their nose has been put out of joint. So anyway, look, events wise, we do have Bristol. Fob and myself are going to Bristol. Never done Bristol before. I know Bristol has been twice before, I think, in the old railway station or something like that. This is at the football ground. So that's not this Sunday, it's next Sunday, 12th, 13th, something like that. Again, I'll put a little calendar thing down below. There's a couple of us, like Sheffield, there's Liverpool coming up and stuff like that. So there's still plenty to go out for this year in terms of events. Loads of signs, Tanya's toys, Sheila's signs. No, I'm joking. I don't know what's going to be there. It's not my rodeo, guys. But we've got some of the bits and bats. So anyway, look, let's show some games, because it's been half an hour. I haven't showed you fucking anything other than a badge and something else. Right, from Clayton, Clay Graphics. He reached out and said, Stu, I'm filling out my collection. I've got these bits. Anything you're interested in? I said, yes. I'll take that, that, and that. One thing I'm not going to show you, I'm going to save that for a separate vid. But he did me a fantastic deal. Really did. Helped me out with sort of paying it as well, because obviously these things aren't cheap, as we know. Obviously, Clayton's got a pot of money now to do whatever he wants with. I've got a few bits that I didn't have, and that's what it's all about. You know, I'm not buying, I'm not giving Clayton car boot money to then go and take these to the market. These are stuff for my collection. He knows that. They're going to sit in there because these are the bits I haven't got. If I was that way inclined, I'd say, I'll buy like how much you want for the lot. Not my style. That's not what I do. It's the bits I haven't got that I really wanted, and these are in fantastic condition. Now this one, well, both of these, I can't really speak too much of them because I haven't played them, but I know this one, I'm sure it's Eddie. Eddie mentioned this ages ago, and that's probably why Clayton picked it up, I don't know. To find the black label version of this is a little bit more tricky. You tend to see like the best of kind of like, you know, I don't know, infograms or the little smaller box version. And it's Gakido Urban Fighters. Now, I believe it's like Dynamite Decker, you know, that kind of Dynamite Cop scenario, crossed with maybe Final Fight. I don't know. I say it's not something I've actually ever played. But from what Clayton was showing me, it's one I didn't have, and because I only seen the spine, I said, "Oh, is that the full black label version?" He said, "Yeah," and it's in great condition, obviously, because it's Clayton stuff, you know, a collector and stuff. A fantastic disc. I don't normally show government like this, but I do like when you put a bit of effort into the discs. So yeah, Gakido Urban Fighters. I say maybe a cross between Streets of Rage, Dynamite Decker, Final Fight. Yeah, the race is on to rescue an innocent girl from the clutches of a gang. Sounds very much like Final Fight, doesn't it? Yeah, it's just, there's 9 different characters, I didn't know that. 5 different beat 'em ups, simultaneous 4-player multi-fight. So yeah, Turtles, Simpsons, 4-player. You know, it sounds great. And then this one again. For some reason, I had this on a save search on eBay, but I'd switched off the email notifications and stuff. And it was just something I just kept forgetting to look for, to be honest. I had other stuff going on. And then when Clayton showed it, I was like, oh, yeah, that does ring a bell. Whereas Gakido rang a bell because it'd been on Eddie's channel. This one, I can't remember. Somebody somewhere has shown this or talked about this for me to have added it to eBay. And I can't think where it was. Now, it is an early release. That may be part of it. Maybe I've looked on a list or someone's talked about it. Again, could be going back probably about 5 years here. But it's Jupiter Strike. I do like the early non-livery PlayStation Strike games. I don't know. There's just something about the box. There's just something about the full artwork, I think. And this is obviously 130. SLES 130. So we look at the manual. It's not going to be Magic Carpet, I'll tell you that for now. Now, I believe it looks like a Starblade type on-rail shooter. From what I can see there. I mean, that does look like it's a jet plane, but it's not. It's an actual spacecraft. I can't think. Somebody must have talked about this, and maybe they've sort of said it's a little bit tricky. You do see this on the continent more, Germany, that kind of place. Less so over here, but an unusual, again, early polygonal on rails shooter, maybe like in the vein of Panzer Dragoon kind of thing, maybe Starblade-esque. If it's down them lines, be a good time, won't it? So those from Clayton, I'm not going to say this nickname. So go and check him out, please do. All the people mentioned be like tagged down below for your perusal. Cheers, John. So we've got a few other bits now. I'm going to go. I did my Super Nintendo Sports. Big up the sports. Sorry, I don't think anyone really fucking wanted to see that too. Everyone's like, going for a full set then, are you? I'm like, no. They're like, well, why are you buying the sports stuff? I'm like, I'm not going for a full set. I'm not going for a full set. It's just because they're cheap. It's because they're cheap and they're there, and it's Nintendo cardboard. And anybody who knows anything about Nintendo cardboard is, you get it, if it's cheap enough, you just buy it anyway, because you ain't going to see it again. It ain't getting any younger. A bit like me, believe it or not. Although there is a guy who comes to London, he says, there's a lovely Asian chap, he's got a little trolley. He always comes with a little trolley. Got fucking wad of money, man. And he only spends about £5. He always haggles off, pulls out his fucking stinking wad of money. And he goes, you get younger every day, you do. I said, you get older and more miserable. And he goes, oh, I love coming to see you because you always have a bit of a banter and a bit of a laugh. And I do. I honestly, I love stalling out, except for when it's fucking horrible and uncomfortable out. Because I just have a laugh at people. Some people are a bit more receptive than others, but there you are. Sports titles for the N64. I am down to, I think it's 6. Let me double check my records. the master spreadsheet. That's not a spreadsheet. The master records of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games and 1 manual. That's what I need for a full, complete, emboxed UK PAL N64 set, right? So that's where we're at. 5 and a bit. Again, these have just been purchased and acquired, I don't know, probably this time last year, something like that. They're all sports games. I'm not going to spend too long on them, but I think I mentioned this kind of thing again last year. These are the ball ache ones. If you're going for a full set, especially the N64, people will just ignore these and they'll think, oh, I've got to go for these. These fuckers end up being a right pain in the ass to get. So first up, we've got NFL Quarterback Club 99 against, I don't know anything about American football, John Madden, and that's where it ends. This one less so tricky to get, but still, again, these are Acclaim. It is Acclaim, Acclaim Sports. They're like integral boxes. They just don't hold up very well at all. Full stop. We have NBA Pro 99. This one probably could do with an upgrade. It is all there. Boxer Man, again, this is a tricky one to get. Really is a tricky one to get. Mine needs, like I say, upgrading, but it's the bulk of it's there. I think it's got a little bit of a dink in the corner there, if you can see it. But as a stopgap, kind of mentally, psychologically, it's there. That will do me. This one's an odd one. It can fluctuate. Some people want like 200 quid. Some people want 70 quid. Stupidly bought this twice. I don't know how I managed to do it. I think I bought it and it was like in transit. And then another one came up which I thought was a good price. And I bought it and the guy, I sent it off and the guy accepted it. And then when I looked at it, I was like, because I checked my list, but I hadn't marked it because the game hadn't arrived. I don't know what was going on. I don't know if you guys have done this. Not that I lose track of stuff, but when things happen in live, you kind of like think, oh, where is that aisle? And obviously it was still in transit. I had to chase the guy up, so I had to tell the guy whose bid I would not want to cancel it, because to be honest, the one that I bought was actually still cheaper, only by like 10 quid. But it's NBA Jam 2000. Don't let the name fool you. It's not really an NBA Jam. It's NBA Jam in all but name, if that makes sense. Again, like I say, people can, a lot of these, the American sports ones, I don't know what it is about the N64. I just don't think they sold very well. I don't know if it's just people jacking the prices up on them. I don't know. But they've become an absolute bastard to get hold of. The hockey ones, any of them, especially the latter ones. Case in point here, I bought the box for this. Luckily, I don't even know where I got it from. I had a loose manual from somewhere. I mean, thank God. I'm guessing probably from a car boot job lot years and years ago. This one, again, it's an Acclaim one because it's a sports title. The box isn't great. They just don't hold up well. This is NFL Quarterback Club 2000. This again, this is not cheap. This is not a cheap game to get at all. All these carts only like about a tenner, right? Cart only tenner all day long. Start chucking in the manual a little bit more. Put the box in, fucking, it goes nuts. It goes absolutely nuts. And they're just sports. I know it's really like counterintuitive to say, but you have to add them to your collection. And you're like, well, why are you paying all this money? You're fucking idiot. I am an idiot. I'm an absolute stone cold idiot. It's a part of the condition. It's part of the condition, and there's no getting away from it. There's no ignoring it. You can't escape it. 40 minutes in. I'll try and do these bits, and then we'll call it. It was that rant at the start. It's gone on too long, hasn't it? Right. A couple of Sega bits. The Sega fanboys. For me, mate. Oh, Scott. Who did I see at London? I seen Marathon Gamer Scott, Sega Zombie Scott, seen Tetley, and I see Tetley all very briefly, seen Alex Ustar Gamer, seen Martin from the Hobby Lodge. What does Scott say? His followers are called Lodgers. I thought that's quite funny. That's quite good for Scott. Scott is slowly starting to resemble Forrest Gump, you know, where he runs across America. I said that to him last time. I said, how long? He goes, I said to him, how much longer is your hair going to grow? He said, I've had it cut. He had all the split ends cut off like he does at the went to a woman's salon. I had the split ends cut. Anyway. And Ed. Retro Ed was there as well. Didn't come and say to be fair, I wouldn't have stayed too long talking to us. It was fucking horrendous in that room, but lovely to see him. It really was. Scott, bless him, man. He was getting him, and he found some nice Game Gear games, and he was hoovering them all up. Kept coming over to show me. So yeah, probably this is for you, Scott, because no fucker else is interested in Game Gear games, are they, mate? Except for me and you. Right, from CX. These are CX ones. Built some credit. I can't remember where from. Probably some controllers or something. Sorting shit out in the garage. Really trying to thin it back. Trying to get some space, etc. Someone mentioned this one because I think I've got the manual for it, and they said it is a really good game. I've got to get a box. I've got a box protector down there. Craig's here again gave me a load. Crystal Warriors. I'm assuming some sort of like action adventure RPG type thing. Doohickey. This one I'd seen at one of the events. One of the guys who's always there was trying to sell it for about 40 quid. I was like, ooh. And then I went back to this is at Nottingham. This was Nottingham like a year ago. And I went back and checked. It's like 20 quid in CX. I'm like, again, you just got to do due diligence. I mean, I would never do that. My stuff's always priced CX cheaper. If it's not on CX, then I just go to eBay. So I don't know where the fucking guys get priced. Anyway, it's Incredible Hulk. Again, I'm assuming this is basically the Master System game. But still pretty cool to have. And then, unbelievable. If you... this is a bit I don't understand either. If you look on CX this game, I think it's about a tenner. Again, for this game, that's still quite expensive, in my personal view. It's still quite expensive. But if you look on eBay, people want 20 quid for this. Preposterous. And it's FIFA. Fucking FIFA. Now, clearly, this isn't a Master System game. So I actually would be interested to see what they've done with this and how it looks, because I don't think the Master System's going to do the 3D isometric view that the Mega Drive game had. But there is a FIFA 96, and that's even more expensive. But what... I don't know. My assumption, again, I don't really do eBay that much. I don't sell on eBay, I buy on eBay. I sell bits of shit on eBay. I don't really sell the gaming stuff. But if I was to sell this on eBay, I'd look at CX and see, is it in stock? Yeah, they're selling it for a tenner. I'll match it, kind of thing. Because again, maybe I'm a bit naive here. I would think that people are buying video games off CX are buying them from eBay. They're buying them. They're going to all the different. Maybe they're not. I don't know. But why would you buy a game for twice the amount from eBay you can get it from CX for? I don't fucking get it. Maybe that's why they're still sat there. But anyway, that's by the by. Right. This one is from CX as well. Obviously, these don't fit into those cases anyway. And it's Micro Machines 2. Again, I'm kind of assumed. Did this come out on the Master System? Micro Machines definitely did. Did Micro Machines 2? Can't see. No, it did. It did. It's only Micro Machines 1 that came out on the Master System. I thought I'm going mentally. Micro Machines 2 didn't come out on the Master System, so again, I'm assuming it's Micro Machines 1, which we do have here. Ta-da! Probably like a very slight refinement, incorporating bits of the Micro Machines 2. Now this one, I got this from cash converters. I don't use cash converters. Again, probably going back to what I said about eBay and CX. And people are like, oh, you don't use cash converters? Yeah, you just said, oh, why do people use CX and eBay? Yeah, you're probably right there. It was someone commenting about, oh, cash converters online have got some Atari games. And it's a horrible website. Fucking horrid website. They did have some Atari games fine when I managed to get the search right. You couldn't browse for them. But I did have a quick look at the Game Gear stuff, and this was cheaper than CX and cheaper than eBay, funnily enough. So I thought, yeah, I'll add that. So I think it was Ian Barnes, Ian Baines. I think it's a guy that sold me Spider-Man on the Mega Drive. I'm sure it's that same Ian. Top man. If I'm wrong, I apologise. But you know who you are. You left a comment about the Atari games. I'm sure it's Ian. So it's the same guy. So, although the Atari games didn't pay off, that did. And you know what? I've even forgot to go and check cash reverse. Now I've just reminded myself. I'll go and check that when this video finishes. Right. Fucking hell. It's going to be about an hour long. Right. Some NES games, some NES stuff. I am down to, I think, Alex was asking me, Ustar Gamer at London. I got a bit confused because I was literally like fucking cooking alive. I need 2. I need 3. But realistically, I could probably get, oh, not even realistically, right. This is what I need. These are the 3 games that I've got left on the NES that I need box complete for a full CIB, complete in box, UK PAL set. Aladdin, although weirdly enough, it's only in Italy, only comes out in Italy. The cartridge is UK VPAL, but everything counts as in Italian. It's an odd thing. That is like, you just don't fucking see it. And this one, like, weirdly enough, you do see this one, but it's fucking like ridiculous amount of money. So yeah, realistically, if I've got even any chance, that's probably the next one. If I've got some pennies at any point, once I've paid off everything else that I've fucking owing. That one, yeah, I don't even know where I'm going to find it. That one you can find, but again, it's being able to afford it. So it's an odd situation. But 3 games, right, for the full PAL UK completing box. But obviously that doesn't stop me buying shit, does it? When has that stopped anybody? So, so what we do, we go down the side, we go down into a subset, and I've talked about these before. I'm pretty sure these will be a third of the price in America. The problem is, it's the shipping from America, and then you add the tax on, and then it becomes null and void. They're just not financially viable to go and buy from America, unfortunately. So you got to buy. I got a bit of a deal. I spoke to the guys, some people on eBay, but I don't know what they've got. No business acumen about them. They've got no business now. So I'm like, he had a couple of games. I sort of said to him, look, if I buy this, this, and this, because he had like it was free postage, and I was like, but if I buy 3 of them, you can put them into the same package. So whereas your postage might be, I don't know, £4 a game. If I buy all 3 of them, it's probably only going to cost you £4. I know I post stuff. You know, I have posted stuff. I don't know if the fucking postage thing works. I'm like, yeah, so you're saving money. So if I offer you £5 less a game, yeah, it's a little bit less, but even then you're saving on the postage. Jesus God, you know, it's like, so anyway, I managed to get, I think 3 of them were from the same guy. Yeah, 3 of them were from the same guy, and then 1 was a win, an auction win. So I was really chuffed with that, because I think it ended up costing me a tenner. So the one that cost me a tenner on its own, and this is the Tengen Pac-Man, probably the best version of Pac-Man, I do believe. So I'm led to believe, especially from a NES perspective, anyway. So old Tengen Pac-Man. Now there is 20 of these. Again, I can't remember from the last vid. I kind of intimated there's 15, and I did correct myself. I said maybe it's up to 20, and it is. I think there's 20. There's 20 of these bad boys. I think three of them were official. They were allowed, and then all the others, Nintendo shut them down. You're not allowed to do that. And I can't remember if Pac-Man was one of the ones that was like allowed initially, and then the rest were like, no, you're not doing that. You're not releasing them games. I'm going to sue you. Love Nintendo for that. They're just fucking complete arseholes, aren't they? Make wonderful games. A fucking horrid company. Really are brutal. But it's their IP. Yeah, you get it. So these anyway. Look, just do stop fucking, because I've had too many beers. Although I've only had 1 beer. 1.5. That's it. Not even pints. So this guy in the UK, I say, I won that for about 10, give or take. Happy with that. These cost me, I think, on average, about 15, 17 quid, something like that. I think, give or take, if you averaged them all out, because it was difficult to deal with. So first up, we've got, and I remember playing this in the arcades, as a young lad, I didn't really get it. It looked impressive, but I think it was like, what the fuck is going on here? Kind of waste of money, and it's Vindicators. So this is like a 3D tank maze game. Probably if you played it as an adult, it'd probably be a lot more fun. But as a kid, you just want to shoot shit. You know what I mean? You don't really want to be messing about with stuff. Again, I can't speak to how it plays on the NES, but that was one of them. These are quite interesting. So we've got a Sega game. Fucking, you gotta love Atari. Atari got the rights to Afterburner. They then put it on a Nintendo console. I don't know what it plays like. Be interested to see this versus the Master System version. I don't know. I don't know how the NES would do the scaling. I've got a feeling that the Master System one, because of the colour palette, would probably look a bit more easier on the eye than this would. This probably's got better gameplay, maybe, I don't know. Answers down below. And the last one, which is quite nice to get, to be honest, although a little bit of fade at the bottom, which I'm guessing is part of the deal with these, is Rolling Thunder. I think this got a Famicom release, did it? I think it did. Was it in one of the hard shell boxes? I think. I can't remember. You don't see the OG on the home consoles, especially, well, say on the home console. On the computers you do, the home consoles, not so much. You tend to see Rolling Thunder 2, not the first one. Again, I could be wrong. I think this got a Famicom. And I'm thinking it's in one of the hard shell boxes. But I could be wrong. But interesting to see how that plays. Because, again, from an arcade perspective, this one, all the Atari games had that unique look to them, the sound, didn't they? The sort of rotoscoped, sort of, I don't know what you want to call it, scanned in, kind of like Prince of Persia, Mortal Kombat type fluidity to the characters. And they always had the same sort of repeatable sounds generally. But yeah, interesting sort of Bond-esque type side screen. You all know fucking Rolling Thunder, don't you? So anyway, there we go. 4 more to the Tengen subset. And that, guys, is probably a way more than you need to be hearing from me. If I get my finger out, and I should do, I'll get this up before Bristol, and hopefully I'll see some of yous in Bristol. Is it the West Country? Is that what you call it, the West Country? I know, and I know, for all you people that are moaning, not that they watch this, but if anybody does know them, there is a couple of independent private sellers going there, because obviously I've told them to go and sell their stuff there, that generally kind of live in the southwest, the Cornish, Devony area, obviously because there's not a great deal going on in that corner of the country, because it tends to be holiday lets or whatever you call it. So I'll have no arguments, and I'll have no moaning about if you don't go to Bristol, because then it's your own fault. So anyway, take it easy, YouTube, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye bye.